You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the show where we take the Niddo kings and queens and separate them from the Niddo peasants. This is June's main feed bonus, and if you haven't guessed by that clunky intro, this is a Pokemon episode. We're going to have 30 questions on all things Pokemon. Really excited today to do that. I am alone as the host today. The other Triviality folks decided to take their own journey. They got their Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander and headed out, so it'll just be me today. All alone, very sad. But I have some competitors with me today, so I'm going to first by introducing you to Craig Teadke. He's a rules guy impersonator from Beaverton, Oregon. How are you doing today, Craig?
I'm doing well today. How are you doing, Matt?
Oh, really, really excited for this, and I'm really not used to doing this on my own, so no one to bounce ideas off. Craig, what's your kind of introduction to Pokemon, and how long have you been a fan?
All right. I'm Craig. I've been playing Pokemon, for years now. I think I got my first copy of Red and Blue on the Game Boy when I was like 13, and so I've just been hooked ever since. And so yeah.
What would be your favorite Pokemon?
Ooh, my favorite. I think I'm gonna have to go with the Gen 8 Pokemon, Galarian Ponyta. It's just a unicorn. How could you go wrong?
That was not something I expected to hear today. It's a wonderful choice, though. Thank you so much, Craig, and good luck today. Introducing player 2. This is AJ. AJ is a Savage Superstar from right here in Glen Burnie, Maryland. I say that because I'm from Maryland now. So that's the local team. AJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Oh, fantastic still. And why don't you tell the folks a little bit about your history with Pokemon?
Yes, so I've been playing Pokemon since I was probably around 5 with Red and Blue on my Game Boy Color. And my favorite is definitely Quilava from the Johto.
Quilava, definitely an excellent choice there. You don't get too many second stage Pokemon as people's favorites, so that's also pretty fun too. Not a Typhlosion fan myself either. So we're going to move on to player 3. That is Robert Wilson from Dayton, Ohio. He is an Oakland 5 supporter. Robert, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you.
All right, well, welcome to the show. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about your history with Pokemon?
I think my Pokemon was my first video game I ever had. I opened up Pokemon Silver Christmas Day with a big clunky teal Game Boy Color.
Oh, geez. What's your favorite Pokemon?
I think it has to be Steelix, actually. I got beat by it so many times in Pokemon Silver. It has to be my favorite now.
You guys are all much younger than me, and I was, I think, 12 or 13 when I got Pokemon Red, a little bit older, but, I stuck with it and kind of fell out. But Pokemon Go, like a lot of us millennials, kind of dragged a lot of people back into playing Pokemon and learning all about it. So really excited to be here today. We do have a host who wrote 30 fantastic questions for these competitors. He is Ethan Metzger. He's a Savage Superstar from Seattle, Washington. How are you today, Ethan?
Oh, I'm doing great. How you doing, Matt?
Oh, still doing fantastic. And I love being asked every time because it makes me feel special. And I appreciate it. Why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about your history with Pokemon?
Yeah, so just like everybody else, I remember playing Red and Blue. And then I think the first game that I got as a gift was Yellow, and I've been playing the games ever since. Longtime fan of the show. And over the last year, started playing the card game competitively, actually. So giving me another avenue to enjoy Pokemon in.
I think the important thing is that there are ways to pump money into Nintendo, all sorts of ways, from video games to cards to apps. They're all getting their cut. So with that, we're going to ask 10 questions to each of these competitors and see who finishes up as the Pokemon champion of today, the cream of the crop, and all of those various catchphrases that we always say. Ethan, I guess we're going to take it away.
Awesome. So yeah, we've got 30 questions today, spanning the games, the show, a couple of trading card game questions, and a couple of who's that Pokemon thrown in there as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. This first question will be for Craig. In 2006, the Pokemon games made their way to the Nintendo DS. In what region did the first Nintendo DS Pokemon games take place?
Ooh, okay. So if memory serves, that was Gen 4. So I want to say that was the Sinnoh region.
Yep, Sinnoh is correct. Yeah, Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum were the first games to come out on the DS. Introduced a number of different game mechanics, one of the most notable being the physical special move split. All right, question number 2 is going to be for AJ. Pokemon X and Y were the 6th generation of games to release. The Kalos region introduced a new Pokemon type, intended to help balance out the Dragon type. What new type was released in X and Y?
That would be the Fairy type, which definitely made the Elite Four a lot more interesting.
Yep, indeed the Fairy type. My flavor text for that is Fairy typing is still broken.
Too powerful?
At least they pulled it out of TCG, right?
Yep. All right, Rob. So Scarlet and Violet also introduced a new game mechanic that changes a single Pokemon's type for the duration of a battle. The Pokemon takes a crystal-like appearance and gains a depiction of its new typing above its head. What is this new mechanic called?
I believe that's terrestrializing.
Yep, terrestrializing or terra typing. And
I have no idea about that one. That's too new for me. I was like, no idea there.
It's
pretty cool. The like different depictions, like water type, you get like a fountain, like a crystal fountain coming off the head. Yeah, it looks really neat. All right, and going back to Craig. Pokemon Sun and Moon take place in the Alola region, based largely on Hawaii. This game introduced Z-moves, Alolan form Pokemon, and trial battles. What is the title used for the person you face in the grand trials after completing other island challenges?
Oh no. This is the only thing I was afraid of because Sun and Moon is the only gen set I have not played yet.
Oh no.
It's like, but like I know there weren't gym leaders. It was like, oh gosh. For sake of time, I'll just say like Grand Poobah or something. I got nothing.
Yeah, well, the answer we were looking for is Kahuna.
Oh.
So you had the 4 main Kahunas of the islands.
The big Kahunas. Grand Poobah, not too far off though. So good effort there.
It was interesting that was the way they figured out to throw in some surfing culture lingo. They're like, we can't figure it out otherwise. Use Kahuna. Go.
All right, so over to AJ. Generation 8, the Sword and Shield games, were the first games to introduce DLC or downloadable content. These DLC packages contained 2 new areas for your character to explore and catch Pokemon not available in the main Galar region. Name both of these areas.
So the first DLC would be the Isle of Armor, which was very like old school samurai movie themed. And then there was the Crown Tundra, where you could go into like caves and battle legendary Pokemon.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, we got the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. So the Isle of Armor, introduced Urshifu, one of my new favorite Pokemon from the newer generations. And then the Crown Tundra, of course, brought in the like Galarian forms of Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno, which I thought was really cool.
The ones that you can't catch in Pokemon Go because they run immediately. I hate them.
All right, and then over to Rob. So, while many look back on the Gen 1 games with nostalgia, They were not without their faults. Most notably, these games contained a glitch for a quote-unquote Pokemon that was not intended to be in the game. Described as a scrambled block-like form or a ghost/fossil sprite not used by other Pokemon, what is this glitch commonly referred to as?
I think that's Missing No.
It is indeed Missing No. If I remember correctly, you could use the Missing No glitch to multiply your items in bag, get all the rare candies.
Yeah, you had to watch the man catch a Pokemon and then fly immediately to whatever island it was. And, there's I can't remember anything about geometry, but for some reason I could still remember how to catch a Missing No in Pokemon Red. Terrible.
All right, so up to Craig. In the Delta episodes of the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire games, you are faced with trying to Mega Evolve Rayquaza in order to save the world from a meteoroid. A new character is introduced in the post-game. This character comes from the Draconid peoples, an ancient tribe of dragon-type trainers from the Hoenn region. Who is this new character?
Oh my.
That was my thought too.
Yeah. Because I played Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, but I don't remember this. His name was Drake, famous companion of Josh.
The answer we're looking for is Zinnia.
I liked your answer too, Craig.
Thank you.
That's good.
I'll give you style points. All right, AJ. In the mid-2000s, Pokemon released games for the Nintendo GameCube, Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. What was the name of the main criminal organization in these games?
Let's see. I remember they used the Snag'em machine. It wasn't Team Snag'em, was it?
Snag'em is in the game, but they're part of a larger criminal organization.
Okay.
Kind of like the Grunts. But the answer we were looking for is Cypher.
That's right.
All right, and then Rob. Pokemon Ranger was a spin-off game released in 2006 for the DS. Players took on the role of a ranger, capturing criminals, solving ecological issues, and helping citizens. What region do the Ranger games take place in?
Oh, shoot. I was hoping I would just have to answer circling the things real fast. I'm just going to have to go out on a limb and guess Johto.
So these games take place in the Fiore region, which in my research, I believe is Italian for flower.
It's next to the Fiere region, which is Italian for Flavortown, I believe.
All right, so we're going to jump to just some trading card game questions. So for Craig, the Pokemon Company recently announced that their former online client for the trading card game would be sunset next month. The new client has been available for beta testing, but will be officially launched on June 8th. What is the name of the new Pokemon TCG client?
Maybe they just went back to their old lover, Wizards of the Coast.
So the new online client is called Pokemon Trading Card Game Live, which is going to be replacing the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. So big change in name there.
Big change there, yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody's ever interested in learning how to play the trading card game, playing the online clients is a great way to do so. What's nice about the new one is you can craft cards now, and so you can create all sorts of decks. Great way to learn that part of the game. All right. AJ, how many cards are in a standard legal Pokemon trading card game deck?
60 cards, no more, no less.
Yep, 60 on the dot.
I'm a Pokemon professor for our local league, so it's always a conversation of, well, can I bring in more cards? No, it's got to be 60.
That's awesome. That's professors are definitely needed. I just took my judge exam the other day. hear
your
back
judge
soon.
exam?
hmm
Did it tell you failed?
It did not. It just said, we'll get back to you.
Congrats, you passed. It'll take them 3 months to tell you.
There we go.
I promise, reach out to their support,
Sweet.
and you'll hear back much faster.
There we go. That's good to know. Add that to the list. All right, and for Rob, Pokemon cards were first published in Japan in 1996 by Media Factory. They were published in the US starting in 1998. From 1998 to 2003, what company, best known for other card and video games, held the publishing rights for Pokemon cards?
Well, no worries, Craig. I didn't know this. I have a stack of Magic cards on my desk. It is Wizards of the Coast.
It is indeed Wizards of the
That's
Coast.
so funny. I'll tell you what, when they first came out, I went to my local card shop and I bought a series 1 I opened up the first card I ever pulled from a pack was a Charizard hologram. And that thing is long / destroyed, gone. Who knows where it is, but it's so sad when I think about that.
Yeah, I think
I had a Snorlax foil from that set that I recently got rid of, and I beat the crap out of it.
Sweet. So this should take us to question 13. So we'll go back up to Craig. The main character of the Pokemon series is Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town. What is Ash's name in the Japanese version of the show?
This is a trick question, obviously, and his name is still Ash.
It's a great answer. But Ash's name in Japan is Satoshi.
Satoshi.
Which I believe is one of the options when you're playing Pokemon Yellow. I think it's one of the preset names.
All right, for AJ. While there are a handful of episodes that have been banned in the US and a number of episodes that have gone unaired in various parts of the world, there's only one episode of the Pokemon show that is banned internationally. The episode is banned after reports of seizures caused by excessive flashing. Pikachu was the cause of these flashes, but what Pokemon did the episode revolve around?
I think that was the episode with Spearow and Fearow. Might be wrong.
Yeah, so the Pokemon that episode revolved around was Porygon. Porygon was the central Pokemon in that plot. And then from that episode, Porygon did not make any appearances in any of the episodes or the movies until I can't remember which movie it was, but it was the 15th Pokemon movie. So many, many, many years later, just because of its association with that whole incident.
And it wasn't even his fault. It was Pikachu's fault. Can't fault him though. He's the mascot.
Plot armor.
He can do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rob. In the Kalos region series, so X and Y, Ash meets many friends and gains many friendly rivals along the way, including Karina, Shauna, Trevor, and Tierno, just to name a few. In the Lumiose Conference Finals, who does he face off against?
Oh boy. Well, obviously it's Gary.
It is not Gary. The main rival in the X and Y series, his name is Elaine. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, everyone's favorite character.
We all remember very well.
Oh, yeah.
So after 15 questions, we have Craig with 1, AJ and Rob both with 3. I will say Craig's eyes get really wide after his questions because it seems like he knows the one always right after his, or at least the one right after that. So it's really anybody's game. So I'm really excited to get back to the second 15 questions, but we'll be right back after these messages.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
All right, and we are back. We visited Nurse Joy. We've gotten all recuperated, and we're ready to go. Ethan, take it away for the second half of this game.
Awesome. So we're going to start off the second half of the game with a little bit of Who's That Pokemon. So what I've done is I have pulled some Pokedex entries from each generation, and we are going to decide through a very complicated algorithm which generation we are going to start with, and I'll give one Pokedex entry to each contestant in that generation. But Craig's first on the screen here. So Craig, give me a number between 1 and 8.
Let's do 4.
All right, so we are going to go to the Sinnoh region. And then I'll just give a caveat that all of the Pokemon selected for these Pokedex entries are Pokemon that their debut was in that generation. All right, generation 4. So Craig, we'll start with you. And here is the Pokedex entry. It has left the flock, having gained strength enough to survive on its own. The astounding force with which this Pokemon flies through the air allows it to carry away large, burly targets.
Let's go with Staraptor.
That's correct. It is Staraptor.
Wow, good poll.
All right.
Well done.
AJ, your Pokedex entry from Gen 4. Its flotation sac developed as a result of pursuing aquatic prey. It can double as a rubber raft.
I think it's Floatzel or Buizel. Let's go with Buizel.
Cool. It is Floatzel, but I have in my notes that I'm going to give points for the evolution line. So we'll give you points for that. Yeah, it is Floatzel.
Nice.
Yeah, that can be a little tricky when they're virtually the same.
Right. And then Rob. Its body is composed of plasma. It is known to infiltrate electronic devices and wreak havoc.
I think that's Rotom.
It is indeed Rotom. Well done.
Everyone's favorite washing machine Pokemon, right?
Leaf blower.
Hey, don't you diss that microwave.
That's true. Various appliance Pokemon.
As long as it's not the fan.
Oh,
All right, so for our second round of Who's That Pokemon, AJ, I'm going to have you pick a letter for me. Any letter in the alphabet.
Any letter in the alphabet? Oh, no.
You know all of them, right?
Let's go with...
Just checking.
Yeah, there's only like 7, right? I'm going to go with G.
All right, G is the 7th letter of the alphabet, so we are going to take a little trip to Alola. So we'll start with Craig, your Pokedex entry from Gen 7. Its actual appearance is unknown. A scholar who saw what was under its rag was overwhelmed by terror and died from the shock.
It's the Pokemon that just tries to be the cutest one of them all, and my personal favorite from Gen 7, Mimikyu.
It is indeed Mimikyu. Yeah, that is my personal favorite of the Pika clones.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for AJ, your Pokedex entry. It has an organ that generates electricity in its abdomen. It concentrates energy in its strong jaws and fires off powerful jolts of electricity.
When you said abdomen, my first thought was Togedemaru, but Togedemaru doesn't exactly have strong jaws, being a cute little ball. So I think maybe that's Vikavolt, that like big bug dude.
Yep, that's correct. It is indeed Vikavolt. Nice poll.
One of my favorites. I think its middle one is just a USB port, right, or whatever. It's like a
charger bug, yeah,
like an outlet.
All right,
they had some fun on Alola.
For Rob, this Pokemon uses its Rocky Mane to slash any who approach. It will even disobey its trainer if it dislikes the order it was given.
Weird to admit at this far in, but I've never played a single 3DS game for Pokemon.
Oh, wow.
I think it's the horse one that has like Contrary, but I can't think of its name. Mudsdale?
That's a good guess, but it is not Mudsdale. This Pokedex entry is for Lycanroc.
Oh, yeah.
All right, but Rob, I'm going to go ahead and have you give me two numbers between 1 and 10.
Two numbers between 1 and 10? Let's just go 2 and 3.
All right. 2 and 3 equals 5. So we're going to go to Generation 5, and we're going to go to the Unova region for our final Who's That Pokemon round. So we'll start with Craig, and here is our Pokedex entry. It fights by swinging around its 3 spiky feelers. A hit from these steel spikes can reduce a boulder to rubble.
I think once you get past 4, it's kind of all blur to me. I'm not 100% sure what's in what.
I mean, I remember this is like the region where like there's just a lot of more like man-made, quote unquote, Pokemon, and I'm just trying to remember which one of the steel types it could be. If it is one. Klefki, I've got nothing.
All right, so I think that Klefki was Gen 6.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the answer is Ferrothorn.
Oh,
I was so wrong.
I know of that one, so that's good.
All right, we'll go down to AJ. And here is the Pokedex entry. The guardians of an ancient city, they use their psychic power to attack enemies that invade their territory.
It makes me think of Darumaka and Darmanitan because they're like chilling in that desert area. But then there's also, who is it? Yamask and Koffagrigus. I'm going to go with Darmanitan.
So you were on the right track with Yamask, but it is Sigilyph.
That one Pokemon gave me so much trouble in Black and White.
Just blacked out on it.
I think I maybe spent more time just in that one fight with N and Sigilyph than I did the rest of the game.
I believe it.
Yeah. All right, and our final Pokedex entry here for Rob. Over 300 million years ago, it was feared as the strongest of hunters. It has since been modified by Team Plasma.
What's the spiky guy? The one that Clay has. I'll just have to tap. I'll say Golurk for having a guess.
Spikeamon.
Yeah. Anybody else want to take a guess?
Trubbish.
Yeah.
Ooh, it is one of my favorite Pokemon from
Vanillux.
It is Genesect.
Oh, Genesect.
Yeah.
The V-Drive one, or whatever that is. Shock Drive, et cetera, et cetera.
All right. So we're going to swing back to the anime for the next 3 questions. So we'll go back up to Craig. Ash's first Pokemon League win came in the Alolan region. His second came in the Journey series, in a tournament where trainers from all regions battled to climb the ranks from normal to master class. What is the name of this tournament?
There was a question about this I had heard before. The tournament
you
was
did some
called...
cramming before this, I remember.
Yes. But like, the question was more involving something different, and I'm trying to remember if they had mentioned the name of the Orange Tournament.
This is the World Coronation Series. Also would have accepted the Masters 8 tournament, which was the final 8.
The Elite 8, if it wasn't trademarked by the NCAA.
All right,
Nintendo can win that fight.
That's probably true. I wouldn't mess with Nintendo's lawyers, that's for sure.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so this question is for AJ. Between battling in Kanto and exploring the Johto region, Ash and Misty adventure to the Orange Island. There they meet a new companion, a Pokemon watcher. What is the name of their new friend?
No, everyone hates this guy, I think.
Pokemon watcher. Oh, crap. I think this is the guy with, like, I can picture him. He's got the red shorts and, like, the light green shirt. I cannot remember his name, though. I'm going to go with Billy.
Yeah, you described him perfectly, and his name is Tracy. Specifically, Tracy Sketchit.
Mhm.
He drew a lot of the Pokemon that he was watching. Would later go on to become an assistant at Professor Oak's lab after the Orange Island.
So, following the age-old tradition of what's their job, make it their name, like Todd Snack.
No, that is one of my favorite names in the series, Tracy Sketchit. All right, and then Rob. So Ash's main rival in the Sinnoh region is Paul, a trainer focused on the brute strength and rigorous training of his Pokemon. What Pokemon does Paul release after the Heart Home City Tag Battle competition? Ash would go on to quickly recapture this Pokemon and make it a staple of his Sinnoh team.
Sinnoh fighting type? Let's guess Lucario.
So the Pokemon that Paul releases is Chimchar. Which goes on to become Ash's Infernape. Paul, one of my favorite rivals, because he is just an a-hole.
Yeah, he needs like a mean rival. The seasons where he's just buddies with everyone aren't as good.
Yeah, that's why I really like the Gen 2 games. The rival in that game,
Yeah, he's
all
horrible.
about business. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and for our last three questions, these are all Pokemon movie titles, and I just want you to fill in the missing Pokemon.
Oh, God. There's so many movies. Netflix tells me there's tons of them.
Yeah. So we're going to start with Craig. Pokemon blank, Master of Illusions.
Pokemon blank, Master of Illusions. Pokemon Zora, Master of Illusions.
Oh, you are so close. It is Zoroark.
Oh!
Oh.
All right, AJ. Pokemon the movie, blank versus the Sword of Justice.
Keldeo versus the Sword of Justice? Or no, Keldeo is the Sword of Justice.
Keldeo is featured in the movie.
Yep.
But the Pokemon that is in the title is Kyurem.
Very close. With this last one, Rob can tie it up, so no pressure, but there is a lot of pressure on this one.
All right, Rob. Pokemon the movie, blank, and the Clash of Ages.
It's not Celebi. That was in 4. Let's go with Dialga.
All right, so this title is Pokemon the movie, Hoopa, and the Clash of Ages.
Ooh, so close.
The Pokemon they never do anything with.
Depends if it's Unbound Hoopa or Bounded. I can never tell which one is better. But that'll wrap it up for today. We had a really fun game. Ethan, thank you so much for providing the questions. Today we have Craig coming in third. We'll start with him. Craig, thanks so much for being here today. Any final words?
Just thanks so much for having me here. I got defeated by the Elite Four, but I'm going to go run around Route 3, train up, and I'm going to come back again stronger.
All right. And Rob, you are the runner-up today. Rob, any final words?
I just want to say thank you for having me on, and shout out to Hippo, my Soul Link Nuzlocke partner.
And lastly, AJ, you are today's cream of the crop, Pokemon master, Grand Poobah, Big Kahuna. You're all of it today, AJ. Any final words for you today?
Just thank you for having me on, and support your local youth organizations if you can.
Excellent. It's a great message. And Ethan, thank you so much for hosting today. Any words to send us out on?
Thanks so much for having me host. It is pretty impossible to write a expansive Pokemon trivia game in just 30 questions. So it's really hard to trim down and try and balance a little bit between games, show, other stuff. So thanks to some of the folks in the local Pokemon community that helped me play test and put this together. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, Ethan, I loved it. It was a perfect balance of the easy and the hard. It's really hard to balance when you have so much history over
Hmm.
30 years of Pokemon now, which makes me feel super old, which is fantastic. So, yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much to all of our guests today. They're all supporters on Patreon. If you would love to join them, you can go to patreon.com/trivialitypodcast for just $5 a month. You get so much bonus content. There are different episodes. You can get boxes and t-shirts and lots of things that we send you. So just head on over to Triviality or patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. And we also couldn't do it without our media group, Airwave Media. You can go to airwavemedia.com and check out different podcasts such as The Ancient World, The Secret History of Hollywood. That seems like it's right up Neil's alley. And Wake Me Up, which I don't believe is an Evanescence podcast, but it might be. So you should definitely check it out. That'll do it for us today. Thanks so much to all of our players, our hosts, and for the host that couldn't be here. My name is Matt, and that was Triviality.